the purpose of the screencast is to show the many UI assets for the action selections and also the different animation uh, of the actual button transition because it uses different assets as well. So we have to rework the animation of the transition on height and height. So first thing first, let's just show how it works in the game, and then we can go on into the backend after this. So now you can see the camera there, but our focus today is this circle here. So this purple circle is the player UI. So basically, if you press this, this is basically the height and on height. So you can see when it's the player, it's gonna say move, attack, guard, and abilities. And then also there's a neat little thing here when I select a bot, you can see the symbol of that bot will come up, which is this is a gamma, and then this one is mu. So that is what the new UI assets and the a little bit of animation and transition looks like. So I'm gonna show you that in the back end. What does it look like? So if you go to script, get action selection here. So yeah, so this is all of the four scripts that I make in order to look at the animations and stuff. So first thing first, we still have the assign button event. I think it's explained from the last screencast um, that we need to assign button via script. So it's just a reminder real quick that because all of the function that needed to be triggered on that button is on the player controller class, which is not going to be exist fast enough in the game. So in the game network, there's a slight delay when the player is not in the game yet, while the button is already looking for that player. So what we can do is we assign each of these buttons the respective functions that we want those buttons to do. Uh, the actual interesting of the animation is action panel transition script. So we can see here I have an array of panels, which is basically the buttons, um, and then we assign each of the panels into the respective buttons. So the move, attack, and guard abilities button. This is defined on the editor's inspector. I will go there after I'm explaining all of the existing thing on the script. Now it's taking in the transition and the size of the thing, and then the show height mode and then the speed. Now let's just go into the action panel to actually look what it does. Now action panel is the individual of the buttons. Let me zoom a bit. So it's as I said in the beginning, it's taking the actual game object, the final position, the final size, show, and the speed. Now why do we need the final position, the final size? Because the final position is when they are in the normal position. So when they are full grown, full size uh, shown. Why do we need that? Because the transition, if you able to remember from the beginning of the video, um, it from its full size, it's shrinking and moving towards the height button. So it's almost like going to inside. So that's why we need to gradually reduce the scale and also move the position as well. So the show and height is pretty simple. It's just a boolean saying, okay, if you need to show the panel, just run this method. If it's you need to hide the panel, then just hide it with which action uh, into which direction. So now I call it action button because the direction that it needs to go in when you hide a panel is into that purple button that I call the action button. So it needs to go behind that button. So if you see here on the show panel, it says but the whatever the position is, if it's less than the final position, which is, we imagine this from the very left, almost like in the same position of the action button. So if it's on that position which is less than the final position that we want, just move that towards that final position, which is plus x to the right. And same with so this is all moving in the respective, so the x and the y, and then um, this is as well if in case your panels is down below the action button. So we also want to move that up a little bit. So instead of just sliding across horizontally. Now head panel is doing the same thing. It's just that it's done um, in the reverse direction. So that all the codes that is doing. So now if we go back into action panel transition, all of it does is just for each of the all panel do the transition. So it's just okay, run the check every update. So basically just run this methods, and then the player will get the player it will get the player status, which is the player class, and then we can say if it's not their turn, just disable that. So we don't want to be in track and try to move or something. Even though they were not able to do a move or do attack because there's a special check in their respective system, but it's just nice to it's a nice indicator. Oh yeah, it's not my turn because how do I know that? Because my action button is disabled. So that is just a nice little thing. And then now we can see as well, it's like show and hide panel. So basically we can see the panel, switch the panel true or false button. So we can see here, uh, yeah. So we can just switch it up when the it's get called. So if I remember correctly, it's here player UI action button. Yeah. So in the action button, it does call that show height and panel. So basically, just switches the current panel status from true to false and false to true if it's clicked once or twice. So that's all for the new UI assets and the new animations. In terms of how it works, it's still the same because all we changed is the static and the animation. So I hope this is useful for further development and documentation.